The Zev OZ9 Compact, let's check it out. So Zev has introduced their OZ9, which this is not a modified Glock 19. This is from the ground up a Zev manufactured handgun. There's a lot of cool features about this firearm over the Glock 19, and we'll take a look at it. There are some parts compatibility, but guys, this is a Zev handgun. Now Zev is not cheap. They are a premium manufacturer of Glock aftermarket parts. Really, the design in this handgun goes well beyond a lot of even custom Glocks that are out on the market. And you know, you can take your Glock 19 and you can have it, you know, designed in a lot of slide cuts and a lot of modifications. But Zev knows what they're doing, and that's one of the things you can take a lot of confidence in. Getting a hold of one of these pistols, guys, and shooting it, there is a big difference over the Glock 19. Now, the Zev 0Z9 is definitely a premium firearm. On the Zev website, they're running $1649. And I just wanted to go ahead and bring that out to you guys because it is an expensive firearm. Is it worth it? That's for you to decide. But on Big Daddy Unlimited, these are running $1,335. And Big Daddy Unlimited sent the Zev 0Z9 for this test and evaluation. This is the compact model of the OZ9. Made very closely to the Glock 19. They do make a Model 17 version as well. We're going to go ahead and drop the magazine, check to make sure the gun is unloaded. You do get two 15-round Magpul Glock mags. Now definitely one of the big things you're going to notice is the slide, and the slide cuts are just excellent. Has front and rear cocking serrations, and of course it does have, you know, a lot of design features in here. It is cut for an RMR, which makes it nice, and the sights are blacked out in the rear and then a fiber optic at the front. And so you're going to get really good quality sights on it. Of course, you have your standard, you know, Glock extractor, and this is made by Zev, which all the parts are made by Zev. They're not using Glock parts. Now, there are a few parts compatibility, but not a lot. Guys, this is from the ground up a different pistol than your G19 or G17, according to what size. One of the things I do love about it is that the frame ends about right here, and yet you have metal up front for your Picatinny rail, and it does have your standard 3 slots. Stylized for sure, but they're very solid and a little bit different than the Glock. Now this is also part of the big departure from your standard Glock 19. As you see, this is metal. There is a metal chassis, removable chassis inside. We're going to take a look at that when we break down, but this is one of the modular chassis systems. And so that is a big coup for Zev with this style pistol. One of the things that allows this to be able to be changed out, different grips, different slides. I mean, there's a lot of different options with the chassis system that make this way above the standard Glock pistol. Of course, you can see the barrel, and we'll look at it when we break it down. I mean, this is a competition barrel. It is stainless steel. It's a match grade chromium stainless steel barrel, 416R. And so it's going to have good quality. It does have your standard lands and grooves, so you don't have to worry about the polygonal grooves for reloads. And the slide is also made from stainless. It's 17.4. You're going to get less corrosion resistance. It does have a black nitride finish, which is excellent. This does have an 18-degree grip angle, so it is a very natural grip. That seems to be more like the 1911. It's going to get away from that Glock hump, as you see. And so you're going to have a little bit more of a natural grip angle, unless you've adapted the Glock grip angle, which I've done over the years. But the texturing, you can see, very well done, very purposeful. And then we have the Glock texturing. And I personally am a big fan of Glock, so I'm not going to hammer it, but I just want to show you the upgrades made. Have texturing here on the back strap, and then we have a little bit of a finger groove right here, very minimal. And then we have a pad down here that's been texturized. There's also a nice beaver tail right here that kind of comes off the back, so it allows you to get a really high ride grip no matter what size hands you have. The trigger guard has a nice undercut here, and then it's been trimmed down, very smooth. Of course, this little hump on the Glock has been taken off as well. You have your memory pads for your fingers. When your finger kind of comes up, it's a great place to be able to put it. Keep it out of the trigger guard. You have your slide stop that is not ambidextrous, and we do have our mag release, which I really like this mag release. It's kind of angled a little bit, so it makes it easier just to get without changing your grip too much, and it is reversible. Now, one thing I'm usually not a big fan of is mag wells. I just feel like it gets big and it's in the way. This is a very minimal mag well, and when you put your hand around it, it nestles your hand into the grip. And so to me, this is a huge advantage, and it does allow for those magazines to go in really fast. It does have the Zev Pro flat face trigger. It is polymer. You have your little trigger safety here. I really like flat face triggers. It just seems you can get more control over it. We're going to take a look at the trigger pull action. So we have a little bit of our take up right here. Then a nice clean break. It's not super clean, but definitely a much greater improvement than the Glock. And then I reset right there. And back on it. Check our trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 3 pounds, 12.1 ounces. 4 pounds, 3.9 ounces. I've tested this a number of times. It runs right around the 4-pound mark. Now, I'll give you a little bird's eye view of the two handguns side by side. Definitely heavy inspired by the Glock 19. But again, guys, this is a totally separate type pistol made again by Zev. But the silhouette and everything is really close to the same. And it's definitely, again, a Glock design. It's just been upgraded quite a bit. And that steep grip angle is really going to help with your natural point of aim. A little more beaver tail. Of course, obviously you can add back straps to your Glock 19. But definitely similar and yet completely different. And you'll notice the Glock trigger guard, it's not relieved as much. You don't have the thinner trigger guard to really be able to balance out that undercut. And then you have this part sticking out, you know, which is typical, but this just kind of rounds it off. Your takedown lever is a little bit more pronounced than your standard Glock 19. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammunition, all made right here in the USA. And also, big thanks to Lula Loaders for saving my thumbs. So we took the OZ9 out to the range, and with the price difference, I was really curious if it would perform at the range better than the Glock 19. So obviously we brought along the G19 just for comparison, shot them side by side. And one of the things we noticed right up front is that the OZ9 definitely shot flatter. It was just, the recoil spring, the way it's set up, it just shoots more in line. Now, I've been shooting Glock 19 for years, and I love it. It's a great handgun. It's one of my everyday carries. But when it comes to just being a flat shooter, the Zev definitely has it beat.
Yeah, it's a little different feel. This one's more of kind of like a quick snap, and that one's more of a rolling push.
Yeah, yeah. That one seems to settle in though. Kind of surprised me.
It does settle right back. With that quick snap, it pops right back really quickly. Yeah. So this is actually the feel that I prefer, is one that's really quick, snappy, and comes right back really fast.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's with the recoil spring. This one's probably got a single recoil spring, where that one's got that dual spring.
Right.
That it changes the way the gun feels when you're shooting it with that single spring versus a dual spring.
And then with the mag well, it just nestles in your hand. The texturing on here is not too aggressive, but it gives it a good feel. The sights show up really well, and of course they're all metal, and then the fiber optic. I mean, this handgun has been really well thought out, and Zev has a lot of experience. So we shot about 500 rounds through it, Didn't have any malfunctions. I mean, it just ran like a top. Now the box is definitely an upgrade. This is the SKB box, very similar to Pelican. Rubberized handle, we got locks. This thing is sealed waterproof. It's even got a pressure valve, rubberized handle. I mean, this box itself is worth some money. Pops this open. Laser cut closed foam padding. You get your 2 magazines, of course a place for the pistol, and an RMR if you put one on. Here at the top we have a Magpul DECA. These pouches are great. And you have an OZ9 vinyl patch. You have your mounting plate with extra springs, and you have a very detailed owner's manual. Now as far as disassembly goes, we've already got the magazine out. Check to make sure the gun is empty. We're going to pull the trigger, pull back on the slide, pull down on our takedown tabs, and it comes right off. We have a captive recoil spring and guide rod. This is a metal guide rod, stainless steel. And then we have the barrel, which is very well machined, and even with these little small cuts, the divots all the way through it. Again, guys, this is their match grade barrel, and it is a stainless steel barrel, and it actually gives it less weight. But Zev doesn't do anything halfway, to be honest with you guys. Now this is a big part of the slide, the locking block here, and then we have, this is actually a chassis inside. So this actually pulls out. You can change the frames, you can change different things. You just drive this pin out and you're able to pull it loose. But guys, you can see that it's highly inspired by Glock as far as design. We're going to pop out this pin and then take your slide rails and just pull up, and the whole chassis comes out. Guys, so you can see it's an all metal chassis, and the serial number is on here. This is considered your firearm. And a lot of companies are going to the chassis system, and you know, you can trade out your grip shells for different ones. You can go with the Glock 19 size, you can go with the Glock 17, and if they come up with a 26, you know, it is a little bit longer, but definitely there's a lot of options, color options, things like that. And so I really love the design that they're using. One thing you'll also notice is that right here with the slide rails, they're cut, and then they have these little grooves, and this is actually for lubrication reservoirs, but it also keeps debris out, so it helps it for just to pass through. But you can see these are much larger than your standard Glock rails. But I love the fact that this chassis just pulls right out so easily. And when you're inserting it back in, there's a little lip on the back. You just tuck it under the frame and then bring it in, and then just return your pin. And guys, it's super simple to do and very easy to bring that out. Also, one of the things about the guide rod is I think that's one of the factors that helps for this handgun to shoot so flat, and also some of the cuts in the slide just gives it a little less weight. But it definitely shoots flatter than your standard G19. Now for reassembly, of course, just the same as your Glock. Drop in your barrel, your recoil spring and guide rod, and then we'll just bring it right over the frame. And we're back in business. The weight on the OZ9C, 1 pound 11 ounces. The weight on the Glock 19 Gen 5, 1 pound 8.2 ounces. The biggest part of the weight difference is the chassis system that's in here. It is solid. Now guys, when it comes to price, these run about $1,695. They are expensive. But if you take your G19 and you send it off and have a lot of modifications done to it, you can pay much more than that. And then two, not knowing necessarily who's doing the work. And that's one of the things about the Zev, is that you know that Zev knows what they're doing, and they put out premium parts for a long time. And so this will give you a little bit more confidence that this is a Zev pistol. The choice is do you really want to take your G19 and, you know, hot rod it out? And, you know, that's for you to decide. It's just a personal preference. Definitely a very cool gun, but again, very expensive. And so, you know, you just have to make that decision on your own. But the big thing is we wanted to show you what is out there on the market, and the Zev 0Z9 is just an excellent little handgun. And again, I want to thank Big Daddy Unlimited for sending the OZ9 for this test and evaluation. The price at $13.35. And guys, if you're looking for really quality firearms at very reasonable discounted prices, check out Big Daddy Unlimited. It's a great source, especially if you're buying guns like the Zev 0Z9. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Using the okay. And Big Daddy Unlimited, okay. So Zev is now offering the 09C. This is a complete, what is it? This is a, and guys, there's a lot of different features on this. Come on.
Yeah, look, I'm like, Matt.
I'm funny.
I know, he's pretty funny.
He is very funny. He is really good. And the Zev OZ9 is complemented with a great cigar. Very expensive cigar.